All right, we're back for another edition of Motivational Monday, and I just want to let you know that a lot of times I come at these from a position of weakness, right? It's something that I needed myself. So really, Motivational Monday for me is I'm trying to unpack my brain for you guys to encourage you. Really, that's it. And we say it a lot, like you don't have to believe to belong. Obviously, I love the Bible. I love Jesus. I know what he's done for me in my life. But even if you don't think the way that I do, I think that you can still take something away from this conversation. So I want to bring you into the beginning of our year with Charlie. We just had got the car done. We debuted it. We won our first time out, which was awesome. And we blew the door off at the same time. And we got a great winner circle picture of us holding up the door in the final. And what was left of our door rather, and started off great. We stayed the night at the racetrack, and we were going to test the next day because we were going to King of the South, which last year King of the South, or well this year still, man, it was a huge event. We knew it was gonna be really fast because it was gonna be a prepped race on a 28 10.5 slick. So we knew we were gonna really have to get after it to go down there and do well. And we only had a few weeks to get ready for it. So we stayed after. The next day, they were doing a race, but had a really low car count, so we were gonna test most of the day. We make one lap, and then the next lap, we go out and we burn this thing up. Like, burn it up, bad. Like, all 4 pistons on the driver's side of this deal, we burn them up, like, bad. And we have zero idea why. Like, makes no sense. So we get the car back to the shop. Brad pulls the cylinder head off, and it's roasted, man. And we got 2 weeks to get ready for King of the South. So we call Uncle Tony. We take the cylinder head to him. He's got to do stuff to it. Brad works on the block. Luckily, we had 4 extra pistons, and we're kind of slamming this thing back together. And we figure out why. We just had an issue with the coil packs on that side of the engine. So basically, it burned up all 4 pistons one shot, man. Like, just, it was terrible. So we're getting ready to go to King of the South, and we're working late. Like, it's Thursday. They're already down there testing. Like, we're watching the live feeds of these guys testing, and we're still putting the car back together. It doesn't even have oil pressure. So we finished putting the car together that night. We roll it outside. We fire it up for the very first time, and we have oil pressure after they're done testing, which kind of disheartening. We honestly did not want to go. Like, we were looking at each other like, man, why are we doing this? Like, we're not ready to go. Like, it's just, we're gonna go down there and we're gonna lose. Like, we are not prepared to go to this drag race. And I'll give credit to Happy. I called Happy. He was already down there. He's like, man, you guys need to test anyway. Like, come down, test, hang out. Like, you need to get it dialed in. So we go down. That's what we do. We ended up drawing Frankenstein first round. We drew the Prestons, which we race those guys all the time. Like, we're within a couple hours of each other. So to drive all the way down there and do that kind of sucked. But I want to bring you into the conversation that Brad and I had before this thing got rolled in the box. And really, like, we both were feeling defeated. I'll pick on my buddy. I'm typically the one that's more of the sunshine and rainbows than Brad is. He's more of the realist. And we knew in that moment we were taking a knife to a gunfight. And so he's working on the front of the car, and I come in the back of the car, and I got a Sharpie, and I write, not on this deck lid, we had a different deck lid at the time, but I write, Peter walked on water. And the reason I wrote it where I did is typically after Brad lines me up, he walks back to the driver's side of the car and he watches it go down the racetrack. So he sees this every time he walks behind the car. And my point when we were talking was, man, if we believe all the things that we say that we believe, then we have to have a different mindset than everyone else. That's period. Like, we have to think differently. We have to, when things are chaotic around us, we have to stay focused on the right thing. And the right thing for us in that moment is, man, I knew I was going to get to go down there and do opening ceremonies. I was going to get to pray for people. We're going to get to hang out and be a light in our race car community, even though we knew we probably weren't going to do that great this weekend, which are all things that are way better than winning a drag race. They just are. They're just way better. Those are things that will last. You know, all those checks on the wall, like, those are cool. But when Brad and I are gone, those checks are probably going to be gone with us, right? We might even lose them before we're gone. But those things, you know, the getting to be a light to people, getting to be all these things that we get to be in our community, those are things that stay, man. Those are the things that really matter. So we go, we get our teeth kicked in. That's exactly what happened. Ricky's got a great video of us getting outran first round. And that's what happened. There's no excuses. We knew it was going to happen. But we left that racetrack that day, but we had a new motivation going forward. And I want to read you just a little bit of where Peter did walk on water and kind of break it down for your own life. And I've used this illustration before, but I'm using it kind of in a different way today. This is Matthew 14. And so Jesus walks to them out on the water, and they're in a boat. And he said, "Come." Then Peter got down out of the boat and walked on the water and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink. I think it's interesting he saw the wind. Like, it was so bad that he saw it. And for us, man, for you in your life, like, there's always these storms that come, and there's always these waves and this wind, and you can choose to focus on these things that you can't control. But at the end of the day, those are the things that you cannot control. You can't control a lot of what's happening around you, but you can control what you focus on. And that's the illustration. That's the big idea, is that when Peter focused on what he was supposed to focus on, which was Jesus, he was able to walk on water and do something that was literally impossible. And for you in your life, this chaos that may surround you, whether it's in your business, in your marriage, in your friendships, in your racing program, doesn't matter what it is, lay out what it is. You have to focus on the things that really matter so that you can keep pushing forward and not be distracted by the things around you that you can't control anyway. And we knew in 2024 that we were going to race a four-door nitrous car. When we were down there, Brad and I were looking for Hemis. Like, that's no lie. Like, we were looking for Hemis. I even called on some. There's one at the shop that we were trying to buy. We're just going to put a Hemi in this thing. But then we would have missed the whole racing season. By the time we got the car together, it would have been for nothing, because we would have had to wait to race it for another season. So we wouldn't have got to make all those memories. We wouldn't have got to be with our friends. We wouldn't have got to do all the things that really matter. And when we focused on the things that actually really mattered, the really good things, you know what happened? We won. We won a lot. We went back to beat Frank. Like, we got outran in Shadyside, and then I forgot to turn the nitrous on, and I screwed up again. But then you know what happened the next day? I remembered to turn the nitrous on because of the help of my friends, and we won, man. We beat them fair, square. There was nothing happened. We won, right? And then we went on to just keep winning, dude. We won. I think we entered 12 races. We won 7. We run it up in a couple, and then any car we got outran twice, but we outran that car either the next day or another event later. Like, we came back because we focused on the right things. And like, one thing that you guys always comment on in the videos is you're like, man, you guys are having a great time. That's because we are. We're having a great time. And when you focus on those right elements, everything else comes into play, and you'll be amazed at where life takes you. So, to wrap up this version of Motivational Monday, look at the things in your life that you can't control that are actually slowing you down, right? If you're focused on the wind and the waves, you're going this way, that way, this way, that way, But what you need to be going is forward to your goal and what really matters and what's really important. And for me in my life, this and loving people around me and focusing on just bettering our world, that's what motivates me. That's what I know that I need to be focused on, being dad, husband, all that stuff. The rest of this stuff will go away. But the things that are eternal for me is what I tend to focus on. And when I do that, the wind and the waves and parking a 4-door nitrous car in the winter circle become a lot easier. So we love you. Like, we really do. When we say that, I mean it. And I hope that you get something out of this, and I hope that you can change your thinking and redirect your course, and don't worry about the waves so much. Maybe even ride them a little. So we love you. We'll see you later.